I'm back here on a wonderful Saturday with somebody wonderful. I'm so happy to be here with you today at the Rythmia Life Advancement Center. I get to see you every Saturday for I Got My Miracle. This man is a miracle. This is Greg from New York, originally from South Africa, and I adore him. I adore you.
I adore you, Kim.
And we have, we've fallen into each other. It's so good in class. And his first time, I'm going to let him tell you all about that. His first time, he was probably a little like this at me in class. And thank goodness, very quickly started coming to class. So yes, he's wonderful. And I want Greg to share your story. How are you today?
I am doing well.
I have to say, you know how funny it is that we tried to do this once before? We tried to do this one other time and you got pulled out.
I did, yeah.
So you said yes to me.
But it was good because I think your sound wasn't working that day. So
you're right. You were supposed to be right here, right now.
Yeah.
So how are you this week?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this week was my third time here. Really powerful week. Taito was here this week, so it was a very, very powerful Thursday. But amazing. A lot of insights, a lot of, I've gone through a journey from my first to now where I am. We're here. I'm trying to work on pulling the things I'm learning out of ceremony into my real life, take the things that I'm working on and apply them, work on my practices, which I learned from Kim. So
tell everyone how many times you've been to Rythmia?
So this is the third time I'm here.
Beautiful. And what inspired you the first time? What inspired you this time?
First time I was in a super dark place. I had heard about Rythmia a couple years ago and looked it up. I've done a few plant medicines before that as part of my healing journey. I had been in a super great place at the beginning of last year. I was in Greece. I was at a wedding. I was on a boat trip, and I've been going to gym a lot. Like I was just in a great place. And then a couple months later, I was in a very dark place, and I was trying to figure out why my life was doing this. Like, how can I, a couple months ago, be just feeling like I finally figured it out, and now, I'm almost suicidal, like just in a very dark place. So I had left New York to come to Costa Rica. I was like, let me just go get away. I'm a runner. I've spent lots of time in my life where I just I'll leave.
So you were running to us?
Not even to here. I was just coming to Costa Rica. And then 3 weeks into that, usually the running helps for a little bit, like takes the pressure off, and it didn't. And then I looked up Rythmia again, and I hadn't realized it was in Costa Rica. So I was like, well, then that's a sign. Like I'm literally in Costa Rica. Let me just divert my trip and get to Rythmia. So landed up coming and was not super prepared because it was super last minute for me. I did do all the things. Like when I'm talking to people that are thinking about coming, the first thing I say is just make sure you do all the things. So walk the labyrinth. Jerry gives advice on what to do when you get here. Journal beforehand. What are my intentions? I just journaled the problems in my life, my 9 things. He said to do 6, and I couldn't get it down past 9. But I was like, all right, here are the 9 things that are just that I need to fix in my life. And then I started, and it just landed up being this really intense process throughout the week. The classes were great, and finding my way into surrender was great. I had a super rough first night. I've met a few people where the first night they struggle to feel the medicine. It's working in you. It's the shamans that told me, look, it's sometimes it's learning who you are, what you're working on, what you need to do, so that it can give you what you need. And I very much had that. And it wasn't until that whole first ceremony, I didn't feel it until I got back to my room. And then I was lying in bed, and I just got this message of look, I was frustrated. I think I was they'd said talk to the medicine, talk to it. And so I was talking to it and being like, why are you ignoring me? I'm in such a dark place. I came here for help, and everyone else is having these experiences, and I'm just lying here. It felt like 4 days lying in ceremony waiting for I've never been so jealous of someone throwing up. I was like, just let something happen. But it was no, what was happening to me is I was just trying to handle these problems. I was waiting for this quick solve, and it was no, you need to work through some of these things yourself. It's your responsibility to fix these things. It can help. I can help basically, but you need to learn to lie still. Because also then realize I've been jumping up and down and going to the bathroom and then walking around and going outside. And it's your first lesson here is to lie still and surrender. So I worked on surrender. I thought through my 9 things one at a time. I talked out loud to myself and just saw all these different parts in my head, like what each one was thinking of this problem, because I had different opinions. Struggling with my parents, there's a part of me that was like really hating my parents, and a part of me that really understood my parents and their journey and wanted to have compassion for them, but just couldn't get myself there because of how much I felt I was being affected by them. And so as I went through the 4 nights, I just started getting insights, experiences. I had things just completely pulled out of me. It was relatively gentle when it came to the purging. I have had the second week, I did have a lot of purging, but I do think that got a lot out of my body. So I was grateful for that at the time. And eventually I just hit this place. I mean, by the end of the week, I was a different person, just a different person. Light. I didn't realize how heavy I was until I wasn't.
Energetically and everything.
Yeah.
I love that you just said that, because so many people say at the end of the week, I don't even recognize myself from the person who came in. You know, like there's such dramatic shifts for you to know you shifted dramatically by the end of the week. Would you find that that's occurred when you've come back the following 2 times? That there's
Yes.
Beautiful.
Different lessons.
Yeah.
And not quite, you know, the delta is different, because now before I was so low and I've never gone that low again. So like every time I come back, I've been working on myself, I'm working on my practices. So there isn't as much of this massive shift. That first time really
so important that you didn't go back to a depth of despair where you were before. So it's shifts keep happening.
Yeah.
But if I'm understanding, you come back to grow more.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, I just fell all the way back.
Yes.
Okay, that's so important to catch. Like it's not a falling all the way back. It's when people come back again, it's to keep growing. Because I have people say, why do people come again? Because there's more. There's always more. Okay.
And there've been times in my life where I've done other drugs in an unhealthy way, and that was exactly that. I might do something and have it help me for a little bit and take the pressure off, but then I slip back down. Then that's just like management, and I'm like going through like a bad loop, just slowly like, okay, it's okay now for a little bit, and then like, this has not been that. This has kind of been, there have been times where like, you know, you go back, you're at this peak, and then you go back home, and obviously like life comes at you, New York comes at you, you're like, okay, it's a little bit hard now, but it's just this like slow wave, but I'm watching this trajectory up. So I'm not coming back because I'm falling back down. I'm coming back because I'm wanting more insight, more learning, feeling my own consciousness expand, my own understanding of life expand, my own level of compassion and love expand. And I'm trying to keep on that kind of trajectory up. So like this week, I had a lot of very powerful, it's not very visual for me yet that happens, but very powerful insights, understandings, kind of experiencing different parts of myself and different parts of life, because a lot of the things that I was depressed about now are no longer, even the things that are still hard, I feel like I'm on a journey with them. I know how to manage them. I just need to get there with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing to say. The things that had me depressed before, I'm now, it's not, I don't want to use the word managing, you're moving through them. They're not stopping you, you're moving through them. Which isn't that a life lesson for us to know that whenever we hit something, if we bring more tools to it, we could just keep moving through things in a more expansive way and not be taken down by them. Wow. You love it here.
I do.
What other elements can you speak to besides ceremony that you really enjoy about rythmia?
So classes, incredible. First class with Kim, I was not happy. I was doing I do a lot of reading, and like I'm very interested in consciousness and self-improvement and development, and like, so I do a lot of that. And so the first class, Kim gets up and says, the first thing she says is, I'm not going to just stand at this board and write notes for you to write down in your little notebook. Like, I want to talk to you guys. And I'm sitting there with my notebook out, pen on paper. Like, I didn't come here to listen to these people. What are you doing? I'm here for you to write on the board, give me some notes. Which, you know, in hindsight, then I'm like, yeah, you've been in these classes before. You've written it all in your notebook, and then the notebook's been put away, and you haven't put it into practice. And by the end of that class, I was just so impressed at what I could learn from your interactions with everyone else, how much people's stories related to the things in my life. They were asking questions I wouldn't have thought to ask. And then that gave me insight. Your ability to just be present and be with your spirit and just be able to hold space and just really help people untangle the knots in their head.
And that we can't untangle the knots in our head if someone's just saying step one, step two, step like we have to engage with each other. We have to understand like where's this landing for you? Talk to me. And I think that place in class is new. It's not a typical classroom.
Yeah.
It's one that's interactive and engaging and asking questions and gaining to understand because that's how we all grow.
Yes.
And you catching somebody over there just said something that just changed my life.
Yes.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Then he came to class every day.
And I was in front. I was just watching him.
I love it.
It was great. Yeah.
So class was good.
All the classes. I think something I did that I am very proud of myself looking back. Even at the time I was in such a bad place. Like I was just, it was probably more out of desperation, but I just did all the things. And so like the program works as it's been set up. So I just did all the things. I was like, if this doesn't work, it's not going to be because I didn't do things. Yes. The yoga, I mean, Victor's yoga, he had me doing things I didn't know or I was possible for my body to do. Not just intense, but just like by being gentle. He's such a gentle soul. He's so wise. I could just like watching him take it through, and then he's funny. And then the people I met, incredible. Shout out to Bev. I know she's watching right now. I've met just such incredible people here. I've learned so much from the people that I've met here. I've made incredible connections, crazy synchronicities with people where, you know, you sit down and talk to somebody and what they're going through is exactly, you're just like, oh my God, I just needed somebody who understood, and you are someone who understands. So healed my relationship with my parents was not what I was here to do. I came in being like, in this like loop of, okay, is it okay for me to cut them out of my life completely? But then I had this huge sense of guilt and shame, and like, you have to be a good son. You have to have some relationship with your parents, and you can't. And so that's where I was at. I was like, okay, well, I just need an answer to that. Which of those two? And then instead, it just, that's where sometimes you get the body release and the trauma release, where it just took something, that resentment and anger, just like right out of me. I had experiences that kind of gave me a lot more insight into what happened, what they were doing, how hard they were trying. And it just kind of like made it all okay. Still have to have boundaries with them. Still have to, like, you know, we're working through it now, but now I can communicate with them in a healthy way. We can talk about it. We can help heal each other, help heal our relationship, find what works for us.
That is brilliant to know. Like, we can, it doesn't mean that we leave here and everything's just like blissed out. It means that we have more tools to interact and stand in acceptance and forgiveness because you've healed. So your relationship is still growing, even if you have places where we probably want to see eye to eye on that. But we're still growing.
Yes.
So your relationships have changed.
Absolutely. My relationships have changed. I have just changed. Like just watching myself start turning the chaos of my life into order. So like there were things I did really well in life, and I have a business, and there were things I was doing in a good way and things that I needed to kind of like bring into alignment. So now my ceremonies have become practice. Like in ceremony, I'm finding the things I'm working on are coming up. It brings out these things. So it turns into this whole like, okay, if you're feeling frustration, anger, pain, it's just pointing you to what you need to heal. And if you just focus on that, okay, so then instead of getting into despair about that or resignation that this is what it's going to have to be for me and I'm just going to have to be in this place, turning it into, what do I need to do to get myself into alignment, to get myself into balance? I'm learning patience. Patience is a huge one here. Patience, consistency in my practices, bringing in stillness, meditation, breath, just focusing on the breath. That's, and then living with intention. I read your book when I got back. I don't know if I told you.
I love that. Love that you read my book, and I loved it. He also showed me your notes one day. And I took a picture like, these are the notes you took in class. Those were good. I like those.
You come up with a lot of little one-liners that you just kind of throw out there that are, amazing.
I'm just listening. Yes. Thank you. What would you say to someone who's on the fence and like, it's rythmia for me, I'm not sure. What would you say to them?
I would say you will get exactly what you need. So everyone's experience is different. Everyone seems to go through their own process. Some people are having experiences that I can't even understand, but I watch as that was what they needed. I don't know if that would have worked for me. It worked for them. it is powerful. You will learn a lot. You will find a level of peace. I mean, the campus here is gorgeous. I mean, just incredible. It is beautiful. The staff could not be nicer people. Just everybody, every single person you meet.
Every single person here, from the people who clean our rooms, to take care of us, who chop fruit for us in the morning.
Yes.
Every individual is kind and conscious.
Yes.
There's just a level of love that is deep. That's the purest intention why everyone is here.
Yeah. I feel so safe here. It's just safe. It's a safe space. It's a safe space. Spa's amazing. You know, you go for massage. You go like just. It's everything you need to take care of your body, eat healthy, you know, do your ceremony, have your learnings, take time out, you know, just sit in the hammock. The hammocks are just my favorite. Just my favorite. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying the course, for coming back, and for being so willing to grow.
It's been an honor. Yeah. It's like I'm very, very grateful.
I'm honored as well. I love it. This is what happens when we say yes to growing, is that have these relationships and they grow, and someone you didn't know teaches you something, and you meet someone and something else expands and you heal different parts. We all get to do this. And I'm super grateful that you said safe, because that's the first word that comes up for me with Rythmia, is this a safe hub of sacred ground. I tell people a lot of times on Friday, like we've cultivated a field of consciousness for individuals to lay down whatever is ailing you, is hurting you, and look at it to heal, so that when you are, you know, what's the word I want to look for? Going back into your world and reconnecting with individuals in your life, you're a different energy field, because there's healing is taking place, because there's such safety here to do it.
Yes.
So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
All right, you'll be around and back and all sorts of things.
Yes, I absolutely will.
Do you see why I adore him? Thank you for having this conversation with me. Thank you all. Come every Saturday, see us right here on our orange couch, and we get to talk about all that we love about Rythmia and hear beautiful testimonials from someone as amazing as this. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Kim.
Have a beautiful day. We're going to go have cookies and a cup of tea now.